Hey, this is Zach over at NV Woodworks. Today I'm going to be doing the casting with clear acrylics. So again, I use Alumilite is the resin that I use. With Alumilite, you got to use a pressure pot, or you really should use a pressure pot. So this would be a little bit different if you're using something like epoxy that doesn't necessarily need a pressure pot. You can use a pressure pot with that, but don't have to. And then polyester resin, same story. Again, I use Alumilite because it cures really quick. This stuff will be ready in. This stuff will probably be ready in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's a little bit cooler in the shop right now. Temperature cooled down, so maybe I'll probably give it an hour. You know, just because I'll go do something else. But realistically, I can probably start cutting up the blanks in 30 minutes. So I like that a lot. Now, because of that fast cure time, that's why you need to use a pressure pot. It helps get the air out. But other than that, so if you haven't seen my other casting video where I did the Alumilite white, I'd watch that if you want an in-depth, you know, me covering all the steps. There's really no difference between clear and white. I'm gonna pour, you know, part A and part B, mix it together, add a little bit of dye, and then dump it in this this mold. Nothing different there, but a couple things to keep in mind. You want to weigh this 1-to-1 with Alumilite by weight. You don't want to do it by volume. That's the mixture ratio, 1-to-1 by weight. I don't know exactly how much. It says use up to 5% by weight of this dye. That's what it says on the thing. I don't measure that. I just kind of put a few drops in. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. The colors I'm using today are fluorescent red and fluorescent yellow. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a base of, the majority of it's going to be dead clear. I'm just going to pour some clear in this thing, and then I'm going to break off a couple cups of dyed resin and just kind of swirl it around. One of the things that in this video I want to show, like I said, there's really no difference between clear and white. You mix 1-to-1 by weight, put it in a mold, put it in the pressure pot, and let it sit. What I'm going to show at the end of this, once I get my mold, once we're done with this, I wanted to show the properties of what this clear stuff looks like at the end. Throw in a couple different colored dyes, just so you can see that. And the other thing is, when you're using clear, and the reason why I'm going to make the majority of these the blank, dead clear, is you have issues with your tube and gluing the tube in. If it's dead clear, you see the tube, you see the brass when you insert the tube in there. So I'm going to cover a couple scenarios and a couple ways you can fix that issue. At the end of this, once I have this thing all done, I'll kind of go through and show you how I fix the tube issues. So I'm going to do this real quick. I'm just probably going to speed it up. I'm just going to weigh this stuff, mix it real quick, dump it off, and then go for it. So we'll see on the other side when this thing's cured. All right, so it's been over an hour, so I'm gonna pop this thing out. Now again, when you're using these pressure pots, make sure you close the pressure valve, pop your air off, and then release it. Make sure you release the air before you start undoing these things. All right. All right. It's kind of a cloudy ribbon of crazy. Kind of an interesting blank. I don't know if you can see that. We'll see how this all works out, but this should be perfect. It's got dead clear in certain areas, and so this is going to be a really good example of what I'm talking about with the tubes and all that stuff. All right, so I got my blanks cut up. What I'm going to be doing is making Sierras, so I just really need one tube, but I wanted to give each one of these a shot. They're kind of interesting. They turned out pretty cool. So anyway, the one that has more yellow in it, or is yellow dyed inside, really has a lot more clear. So that's going to give us a really good example of what's going on. This one's got a little bit more dye in it, but I think by the time we turn it down, it's going to be a lot more clear. So we need to do something about covering up the tube. Now, when you glue the tube and then stick it in, the problem is if you haven't done anything with, trying to cover up with paint the tube, what's going to happen is, number one, if it was dead clear, you're going to just see brass and every fingerprint and scratch and everything like that. I mean, it's going to magnify it, basically. So that's one issue. The other problem is the glue doesn't spread. It's not like there's an even layer of glue. So there's splotchy glue marks, and I got an example right here of one that I forgot to paint. I'll throw a picture up in the video. But it looks terrible, basically. It just looks like your casting is cracked and nasty on the inside. So you want to cover that stuff up. Now, there's generally two ways you can do this. You can either paint the inside of the tube, or you can paint the barrel, the brass barrel. In general, you're going to want to paint the inside of your blank for one specific reason. If you paint the tube, then you let it dry and then you glue it and then stick it in there, you're still going to see glue. What's happening is, if you paint the inside of your blank, there's going to be a layer of paint between the glue and the outside of the blank. So that basically is the best way to do it for that instant. So the way that I do this, you can do it a couple ways. You can just get if you have paint brushes, kind of smaller ones, they'll work. I'm not really into cleaning brushes too much, so I either use a Q-tip or these acid brushes. They work fine. So I'm gonna I'll do one of each so you can kind of see how it works. Frankly, I actually haven't used the Q-tip method yet. I think I got that over on Bob's YouTube channel. I think in the comments somebody said they use Q-tips, which is pretty smart. So I'm gonna take this blank and I just smear it around in there. Try and make it fairly smooth, but the main thing is I want to cover the entire area. And so, like I said, I don't really care what it looks like. I just want to get it all covered. Okay, that ought to be pretty good. I'll let that dry. It probably takes about 30 minutes, but it's dry. It's ready. You can start gluing it at that point. So that's why I like using those, because I can just toss them. Q-tip might be a good way to do this, a little bit cheaper. So let's give it a try. I'm gonna actually mix this up, shake it stuff wasn't really, oh, got it all over me. I think this is water-based cleanup, so not that big of a deal. All right. For these Sierra pens, I'm not certain that a Q-tip's the best way to do it. It's too small. I think this would work really good on a slimline though. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that. I don't like that personally. Not for the bigger, not for your bigger ones. Just to give you something to look and see. Here's one of the big brushes. See how that works. Yeah, that doesn't really fit. So I wouldn't recommend that either. The smaller brushes, acid brushes, are really the way to go. So I was doing it right the first way. Alright, well, I got that first one done. This is the yellow, fluorescent yellow dye. This is the orange one, still haven't turned it. Couple things to note. So I'll try and get a close-up here of the pen. Now, I've gotten a couple areas where the paint, I didn't paint it or cover it well enough, and so I can actually see the tube in certain spots. So that just goes to show you, you really need to, go in there, look and double check. I'm going to check this one, and I'm going to probably put a little bit more paint, probably just put a second coat, just to make sure that it's, I want this one blacked out completely. One thing though, that black paint, I mean, this thing is black. It's almost like black acrylic. So, you got to be careful depending on what you are trying to achieve. It'll depend on how what color you paint this and what's going on. You'll get different results doing different things. So, always test before, especially if you're selling pens like I do. Test what you're trying to do first and get it dialed in and understand what you're doing. But this one's actually kind of cool. It's interesting. I don't hate the fact that I actually can see some gold specks in here. Now, one of the problems is I know what it is, and I think if I showed this to other people, I don't think that they would even have a clue what was going on. They'd probably think it's kind of neat. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to assemble the pen. I'll throw up a picture at the end of the video once I've put the kit together. A couple things that I actually just realized, because there's a couple areas where you can see through this. That's actually another opportunity if you want. Couple things. If you want to see a little bit of gold, or if you wanted to try and put some spiraling, or just areas where gold is, the brass, I guess, is going to show through, you can scrape off some of this paint and get that effect. You could even paint the tube, paint this, black or whatever color on the inside of the blank, and scrape areas out that you want to see. If let's say you painted the tube blue, if you wanted to see blue through there, you could do this method and scrape away some of the parts inside the blank, and you'll see blue through there. So it's another opportunity. It's also kind of a curse in a sense, because you really got to watch out. If you're going for no tube, you got to maybe put 2 coats on it, just to make sure. But anyway, I hope this video was kind of fun and interesting. I'm always learning stuff too. I'm really no expert at this stuff, but I do know how things work, and I have experience doing things. I'm always trying new things though, so that's what I like about casting, actually, is the fact that I can just experiment with things, get new, completely different things. A lot of times when I screw up, I learn something new, or I get something better than I wanted. So go out there and play around with it. It'll be fun, I think. And if you have any questions or comments for me, leave those down below, or you can email me at zach@nvwoodworks.com, and I always respond to my comments, my emails, and stuff like that. So I'm here to help if somebody needs it. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I got quite a few casts and molds and pens under my belt with this stuff, so I'll try and help if I can. Thanks for watching. In the next video, real quick, I'm going to do the casting with the wood. I got it right here, actually. I'm gonna do, this is mountain mahogany, and I'm gonna cast this stuff. I'm probably gonna go with a clear that's dyed. One thing that I haven't done a whole lot, it's not like I've cast with all kinds of different colors, so I'm using these videos also to kind of play with some dyes and see what's going on. I have pretty much every color that Alumilite makes, but I haven't used them all, so it'll be kind of interesting to see something new for myself, and hopefully you'll enjoy that too, see what these things turn out to be. This is one of my favorite things to do, is put chunks of messed up wood or whatever in there and see what you get when you turn it. So next video will be that, and other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Oh, and I want to give a shout out to all my subscribers. To be honest, I'm actually surprised at how many subscribers I have. So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.